The White Bear Area Chamber of Commerce and SCC TV are proud to present Your Business Matters, dedicated to your business needs. The White Bear Area Chamber is a nonprofit business organization serving as advocates to the White Bear area and its business community. Now, here's the Executive Director of the White Bear Area Chamber and the host of Your Business Matters, Tom Snell.
Welcome to Your Business Matters, brought to you by the White Bear Area Chamber of Commerce. Each month, we interview community leaders and local business owners so you can be informed about the developments in our community. I am pleased to welcome David Kornecki, the project manager of an innovative, state-of-the-art employment service called Real-Time Talent Exchange. David, thank you for joining me today on our program.
Thank you.
And the first thing I want to ask you is, what is Real-Time Talent Exchange? What is it in a capsulized version?
Sure, it's an open sourced matching talent system.
Okay. Now, how is this different than a typical employment agency, Masterson's employment agency, for example?
Sure. So let's back up a little bit.
Okay.
We're a technology solution to help employers find their future candidates.
Okay.
Right. And so what we're able to do is provide employers the job profile that they fill out, and then those candidates who want to do exactly that type of job.
Okay. All right.
So through fancy logarithm matching software technology, we're able to help make those connections.
And most of the other employment agencies around the area, and I'm not saying that you're an employment agency, but most of the employment agencies, they don't go to quite that extent, do they?
They don't. A lot of, going back 2 decades ago, largely you're going to find your future job in a classified section of a newspaper.
Right.
2000s hit, late 90s, Career Builder, Monster.com, those platforms, those classified ads were now brought onto the internet.
Right.
We go a little bit further, actually probably quite substantial further, in actually creating job profiles, what these individuals are doing, and finding the individuals who actually want to do that job.
Yeah, now groups like Monster.com wouldn't do that, or?
They don't. They're actually providing employers with their current ATS system the ability to show
what system?
On a candidate tracking system.
Okay.
So there's internal technology that they use to follow their candidates through the application process.
Okay, great.
So largely they're able to take those and put them out for large dissemination to a substantial number of viewers.
All right.
And they catch a lot of eyeballs.
Okay.
What our tool recognized was that created a substantial amount of noise in the marketplace. So what that means is, great, I was only getting 5 candidates for this job before. Now they're getting upwards of 200, 300 applicants. How do I still deal with that massive volume, right? So now the issue isn't necessarily eyeballs, but it is actually finding the best person for the best fit of
And
their
so that's how
company.
you do that's how you do the match, because a person that has this talent that a company might be looking at, they can match easily because the company says we're looking for this, and the employee says I've got exactly what you're looking for.
Exactly. That's exactly it. And so it gets down to the granular detail of the job description, in the sense that we know what that person's doing based on a large job title. Let's just say welder, for example.
Yeah.
We can break down that job, and we know what they're doing on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, and the employer has the ability to say, yes, this is exactly what they'll be doing on that.
Okay. Now, give me a little bit of background about your company or organization that you have. How did it start? How did this concept come up?
Right.
And who are some of the people that are backing it?
Right. Great question. There's kind of 2 streams that are happening simultaneously. One here in Minnesota, with Senator Terry Bonoff, the chair of Higher Education and Workforce Development.
Yeah, she's a state senator.
She was a state senator. She was pushing dual training opportunities, which are largely earn while you learn, so on-the-job training as well as classroom instruction that leads to degrees. So she was pushing these opportunities, creating grant programs, and his employers were standing up saying, hey, these are great. I'll do this. I love the idea. I want to help these students. I need workers. She was then working with these employers to help them find those students. And she realized, talking to the high school counselors, that it's pretty tough to get those high school counselors to promote each and one of these every opportunities
Right.
to every student in the classroom. So she identified the need for a technological solution to help employers directly seek out their future workforce.
And these may be students that aren't looking ultimately to go to getting a 4-year degree or postgraduate degree?
It can. Right now, those grant dollars are able for a certificate program all the way to master's degree level
Sure.
program. It's just another way of getting employers engaged with students
Yep,
at an earlier age in the education cycle.
So Terry, Senator Bonoff came up with this concept.
Yeah.
And so from there,
our company, it's a Detroit-based company,
Okay.
simultaneously was asked by 10 not-for-profit political philanthropic partners, as well as a grant from the U.S. Department of Labor, to come up with a solution for the brain drain that was happening in Michigan. What was happening was a lot of great jobs were available to students as well as recent graduates, but they saw a huge migration of those students in recent graduates going to the Chicago market and leaving their state when they had good employment opportunities in Michigan. So our company was brought in through this partnership to study the problem and come up with a solution.
Sure.
And for Michigan, forever it'll be an internship tool, or at least people know it as Intern in Michigan, because they identified if you get an internship in a small, medium-sized employer, you're more likely to lead to a job.
so when you came to Minnesota then, and this idea that came with Senator Bonoff, then who did she connect your company or your organization with then so that you could start operating in our state?
Great question. So yeah, she last year through supplemental budget was able to get some funds to an organization called Real Time Talent. Real Time Talent is an organization that was created out of the Tasca Group, or Tasca Project, to work on workforce innovation.
And the Tasca Project is what?
It's an entity of large employers, the largest of the employers in the metro region as well as the state, and they identified workforce needs and solutions, innovations, and so they created this entity to work on those. And so they're working on other projects called Talent Neuron, as well as they're now working on our tool, which is WorkFound, but it's branded for real-time talent as the Real-Time Talent Exchange.
Okay. So it started that way, and it's grown, I imagine.
Yes.
You've been getting partners with this program to work with, and who are some of the partners that you're working with?
Sure. Some of the partners we're working with are the Minnesota Chamber.
Which is the largest business organization in the state of Minnesota.
Correct. And they are bringing this to their Grow Minnesota partners. So
Grow Minnesota is their program where they go out and talk to businesses around the state about what their needs are.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And one of the biggest needs that they continually heard was talent recruitment to their regions for their jobs.
Workforce issue. Workforce talent. Getting people to come and creating jobs for business.
Exactly. If they've got inventory that's going unfulfilled, that's hurting their local bottom line. So ultimately, how can they bring in talent, or at least identify their future talent pipeline?
And so that's how they can use your company then, by doing a match.
Correct.
With people that are potential candidates for these businesses.
Correct. We every candidate that comes on the software, we match them and screen them against every single opportunity, as well as employers that post a job, they're screened by every candidate as well. So we get them connected with the top matches, and we'll give them 7 of the top matches. Why only 7? Because we know that most likely that hiring managers are really only going to bring in 5 people for interviews. So we give them a little bit extra, and we say, hey, these are probably 5 good people you should be talking to.
And how long have you been operating then in Minnesota?
In Minnesota, so that state dollars went through last year. We got actually up and running for a soft launch in February 15. I'd say we're kind of running right now at kind of...
In a soft
soft launch.
Okay.
Yeah. Just kind of
Testing the market.
Testing the market, working with a few partners that signed on. Additional partners in addition to Minnesota Chamber of Commerce is Agri-Growth. Locally here, it's the White Bear Area Chamber, as well as Vadnais Heights.
Right.
So working with them to how do we best bring this to your employers? How do we best help you as an organization?
Great.
So.
Okay. Well, we're going to take a short break. Now I have a quick announcement about important chamber happenings. On Tuesday, August 1st, at the Vadnais Heights Country Inn, we will welcome the new president of Century College. The program starts at 7:30 a.m. with breakfast at the Country Inn and Suites in Vadnais Heights. This event is free to attend, but reservations are required. To RSVP, register at the White Bear Area Chamber of Commerce website at www.whitebearchamber.com. With me is David Kornecki, Project Manager of Real-Time Talent Exchange. Thank you. And for some additional questions I wanted to talk to you about is, you mentioned that you've been involved in the state for around 15 years. Since 2015, is that right?
Correct.
Approximately.
Well, our contract went through 2016.
Okay.
And so we just started in Minnesota, February of this year.
All right.
But the company in Detroit, it's been working on this issue since 2009.
And you mentioned a wide variety of options. Are you focused on any type of businesses, or are you just everything?
Our tool has the capability to handle all jobs and occupations. So is there a specific focus right now strategically? Yes. I'd say we have team members that are working with large employers to get them acquainted with the tool.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. And so we've got them working with large employers, showing them the tool, get them to test drive it, feel it out. And
that's your outreach to larger employers to show them to go and visit the various partners that you've got in.
Correct. And my job is right now working with entities like yourself to then bring it to the small and medium-sized employers as well. You're the best conduit to do that.
Yep. As you know, right now Minnesota is facing some mammoth workforce shortage problems.
Correct.
And a lot of that has to do with the retiring baby boomers.
Correct.
And I would imagine that your company then is being looked at by groups like the Minnesota Chamber as kind of a bridge to help support and bring more fresh talent into the work pool.
Right, and we're a good solution to help do that. Reason being, we're in 5 other states right now. We're a small company, but growing pretty rapidly. And what we're able to do through an open source blind matching system is we don't bookend geographical reference. Reason being, a 15-mile radius here is very different than a 15-mile radius up north in, say, Fergus Falls, right?
Yes.
So we just ask candidates where they like to work. And so we're able to, in those other 5 markets, being open source, if you post a job today, you might get matched with someone in Texas who's the best match. I highly recommend you pick up the phone and give them a call.
So when we're looking for candidates, I would imagine that rather than just some broad approach, you mentioned you go to some of the education institutions, right? So you might work with Century College, for example.
Correct. Yep.
Or you might work with the school districts, and I think you brought that up a little bit earlier. How, getting to the school districts for students, particularly in the high school format, how do you go and approach the school districts and the counseling services in those districts?
Well, right now the strategy would be through the Minnesota Department of Labor and Industry, through the Minnesota Pipeline Project.
Minnesota what project?
Minnesota Pipeline Project.
Okay, and what are they?
The Pipeline Project stands for Private Investment, Public Education, Labor Industry Experience. So
Okay.
these are those opportunities that are the earn while you learn opportunities for students to get their degree in a new way, especially here in the United States. We're not known for our apprenticeships or guilds. The Germans are, but we've
Yes.
got a good system in place, and we've got the institutions that can provide that. Employers provide a little bit of on-the-job training, and schools like Century College and the high school can
And
provide
is
classroom
this just for community colleges, or is this also for high schools where you're looking at apprenticeship opportunities?
We're also looking at high schools. As we expanded into the Minnesota market under
Yes.
Senator Bonoff's guise and
Right.
vision, we added some additional criteria to our tool so that we could capture those high school students and connect them with those employers with these types of opportunities.
Let's say that you're a student and you want to go into become an auto technician, for example. Would they then be able to maybe go and actually work at maybe one of the many auto dealerships that are out in our area as a paid intern?
That's what we're working on. We got to first probably build those partnerships with the employers, and with our partnership, we hope to make that outreach effort. And then from there, once those employment opportunities are available on the system, let's now go to the high schools, let's go to Century College and talk with those students.
Okay.
And one strategy too, additionally, partnerships that we have here are with two student organizations.
Okay.
They're the student organization that
Right.
represents, it's called Students United. They represent all the students at four-year state universities.
Okay.
We also have a partnership right now with Lead MN, which is the two-year college student organization, formerly MSCSA.
Yeah.
And so we're partnering with them so they can bring this tool to their current students as well as their alumni for these types of job opportunities.
So that they'll be able then to share that and bring that down into the general student operation.
Correct.
How about dealing with career counselors at the high schools level? Is there a learning process with a lot of those people?
Yeah, we've got a great feature on our tool called a job alert. So when these jobs are immediately posted on our system, they'll have the ability to scan through what type of jobs that they'd like to get, and we'll be able to tell them right away when those jobs are hit our system, so that they can now let those interested students know that these opportunities are now available. They should go and apply.
You mentioned that you work too with the state college system. Do you do anything with the like the University of Minnesota or the university system?
We do. Through our partnership with AgriGrowth and bring this to the agriculture community. One of the schools that we're working with in the University of Minnesota is CFANS, the College of Natural Food Science. I'm going to totally butcher that acronym. But CFANS is a great partner. They've been bringing this tool to their students. They're one of the first to bring it to their students. And we saw great success in regards to what their students were looking for.
Another question I have in a kind of a different area involves the partners that you've got with the state of Minnesota and with the business community in general. And I wanted to bring up a couple of those. For example, there's a group in the state of Minnesota. It's part of the state government. It's called DEED, D-E-E-D. And I'm wondering if you could explain a little bit about what DEED is about, and if you have a relationship with that part of the state government. They deal with employment issues too.
They do, and so part of our work is working with their workforce centers. Hennepin, Ramsey, introducing this tool to their counselors, making sure that they use the job alert feature. Also, the Deputy Commissioner, Jeremy Hanson-Willis, is a board member on the Real-Time Talent organization.
So the person that runs DEED is actually runs all these things for the state of Minnesota, is actually on your board of directors.
He sits on our board. He's made plenty of introductions to some workforce centers. We're also working with folks at the part of their rapid response team, so those that are working with employers who have mass layoffs, so 50 or more.
Rapid response team, what is that?
So Yeah, when there's employers that, unfortunately, for whatever reason, let go 50 or more employees,
Yeah.
they have a team at Deed called the Rapid Response Team that goes and helps that employer and those employees make transitions into the workforce. So we've had great discussion with them. They love our tool. They need our tool, and they'll be able to get those employers to say, hey, this is the type of occupations these people are in, and then we can go out to that local business community and say, these are the types of candidates that are going to be hitting our system. Why don't you post some jobs? And they'll get immediately connected with them.
Really?
So they see it as a huge innovative advantage for them to,
Yeah, I've never heard of anything like that.
Yeah. No, it's a great service that they provide.
Yeah. Is there, I know that there's a lot of people involved in this. Was your program the brainchild of any particular individual? The way that it was set up, it just seems to be such a different model than has been used in the past.
Yeah, I think our CEO has to be credited substantially with creating this. Brian Belasia, very smart guy. But also the way that the company works, very adaptive, listening to our partners, understanding the marketplace, and constantly evolving.
Sure.
We go through what we call a 2-week grooming process, where our tool constantly changes and rapidly evolves over a 2-week period, because we're listening to our partners and hearing what their needs are.
Yeah. And if somebody wants to get a hold of you, how can they do that? In case they want to learn more about your program directly.
Sure. Great start is the website realtimetalent.org.
Realtimetalent.org.
And look up the exchange. It's a tab on the far right, so /exchange after org, if that's one way. Me personally, Dave Kornecki, feel free to call me at 612-868-7545.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, David Kornecki, for joining me today. I'm Tom Snell. Until next time, thank you for watching.
You've been watching Your Business Matters. For more information on this program or the White Bear Area Chamber, visit whitebearchamber.com or call 651-429-8593.